interaction for Indo-Australian opportunities together. Good afternoon, all. I'm pleased to be here today. Thank you all for attending the session today. I would like to thank you to our partners, Indo-Australia Chamber of Commerce, for collaborating with us for this event, Australia Consulate General in Mumbai, and Austrade for their support. Thank you all to our other event partners, Australia Inbound Business Council, Export Council of Australia, Services Export Promotion Council, Macquarie Infrastructure and Real Estate Assets, AccuSensus, and Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Western Australia. A few protocol points. In order to reduce background noise, all microphones will be muted during the webinar, apart from the person speaking. In case of any network disruption, please stay online. The panel will be taking questions. In order to ask a question, please type your questions in the chat window available on the right-hand side of the panel, addressing the host and the presenter. Please note we are recording this webinar, and this recorded version of the webinar will be shared with all participants. I will now hand over to Petula to proceed further. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Triti. It's a privilege to introduce the Australian High Commissioner to India, the Honourable Barry O'Farrell, who is a distinguished and familiar face to many of us here in India. Mr. O'Farrell served in the Parliament of New South Wales from 1995 to 2015, including as the state's 43rd Premier between 2011 and 2014. As Premier, Mr. O'Farrell initiated and led annual trade missions to India to promote economic, cultural and social links between New South Wales and the states of India. He has also served as NSW's Special Envoy for India and has made a significant contribution as the Deputy Chair of the Australia-India Council Board. High Commissioner, thank you for your leadership and the support that we receive from the Australian Government in India, Ms. Susan Grace and her team in Chennai, Mr. Ilinga and his team in Mumbai, the Consulate of Kolkata, and from Catherine Gallagher and the Austrade Network. With that, High Commissioner, I invite you to please deliver your opening remarks.
Namaskar. I'm delighted to join everyone for this virtual town hall event, and I'd like to start by thanking the Indo-Australia Chamber of Commerce for the initiative, especially their hardworking and professional director, Petula Thomas, and Ravan Merchandani, the chair of its Western chapter, and importantly, an Australian alumni. If we're going to realise the ambition of both Australia and India's Prime Ministers for the relationship between our two countries, the Chamber will have an important role to play. I thank everybody online for joining in today. Obviously, we're especially honoured by the participation of Australia's Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Michael McCormack, and India's respected Road, Transport and Highways Minister, Sri Nitin Gadkari. Equally, I acknowledge Frank Kwok, the Head of Asia Pacific Macquarie Infrastructure and Real Assets Asia Pacific, for joining today's panel. And I want to thank Australia's Acting Consul General in Mumbai, Chris Ellinger and his team, for all their efforts in ensuring the success and in fostering and furthering the Australia-India relationship, supported, of course, by our good friends at Austrade. This event occurs at a time when the Australia-India relationship is at an all-time high. The Virtual Leaders Summit in June saw both Prime Ministers agree to elevate the relationship to a comprehensive strategic partnership status. This followed years of closer strategic congruence, deeper people-to-people ties, and vital economic integration. Few areas demonstrate the achievements and future potential of two-way exchanges in expertise, technology and investment like road infrastructure and road safety. Australia takes road safety very seriously and has had success in developing and applying systems and standards to manage road risks in our towns and cities and across our vast country. In India, Australian companies are amongst the most active investors in road infrastructure and associated safety technology. As we listen to our distinguished contributors today, I urge you all, Indian and Australian alike, to give thought to how, in your own way, you can promote a safer environment for road use in your daily travels and importantly, how Australian and Indian companies might work together to reduce the terrible loss of lives caused by road accidents. There are many opportunities for our governments to collaborate in finding ways to scale up investment and sustainably manage road safety performance in India, to work together on standards and best practice regulations, to tap into Australian expertise to deliver critical road safety projects, and to address the gender issue in the provision of transport infrastructure and services to ensure greater convenience and safety for women and girls. As in so many other areas, the topic under discussion today is one where opportunities abound to further deepen the Australia-India relationship, and I feel certain it'll prove informative and productive to the relationship. And now, without further ado, I'd like to introduce one of our special guests. It's a particular pleasure to introduce one of the most senior members of Prime Minister Modi's government, someone who at both state and central levels has earned his reputation as an accomplished reformer and administrator. Can I welcome the respected Minister for Road Transport and Highways, Shri Nitin Gadkari. Thank you, Mr. Gadkari.
Dignitaries and dear friends, first of all, it is an opportunity for me to interact with you. Presently, the whole world is facing the crucial problem of COVID-19. India is also facing this problem. Dignitaries and dear friends, first of all, it is an opportunity for me to interact with you. Presently, the whole world is facing the crucial problem of COVID-19. India is also facing this problem, but in the whole world, now people are making a lot of research for availability of vaccine for that. And I'm confident that in due course of time we will get vaccine and the world will resolve the problem of this COVID-19. Actually, in Indian economy, we are the fastest growing economy in the world. And presently, we have a very good relationship with Australia. Our trade relations are very good. And actually, in many fields, there is a lot of good coordination. And already, a lot of Australian companies are doing excellent job in India. A lot of Indian people also are doing good jobs in Australia. Regarding imports and export, presently 18-19, the export from India is 3.5 billion and import from Australia to India is 13 billion US dollar. In 1920, the export comes to 2.9 billion dollar and the import is 9.8 billion dollar. I am confident that 100% our relationship with Australian industries and Chamber of Commerce, it is the time for Indian economy that how we can be useful for development of new industrial development in the country. Presently, I am in charge for MSME sectors, and where our MSME sector contributes 30% of GDP growth in India, or 48% export from MSME, and up till now we have created 11 crore jobs. So MSME is the growth engine for the country. Our present priority is to develop agriculture, rural and tribal, particularly 115 aspirant districts, where per capita income and GDP growth is very negligible. Our the contribution in GDP growth and per capita income from this area is very negligible, and that is one of the reasons that we are facing some crucial problem. Now, the most important priority for our country economy is to create more employment potential, and that for that purpose we need to upgrade our technology. We are also welcoming foreign investment in MSME, in NBFCs, in infrastructure. Now, as far as the infrastructure is concerned, it is one of the success story that we are making now 30 kilometers per day national highway road construction. Once upon a time, it was only 2 kilometers per day. We are making 22 green express highways, which are very important for the country. One of the important highways is Mumbai-Delhi Express Highway, where it will be possible for take your car within 12 hours, 12 and a half hours from Mumbai to Delhi. It is a 12-lane axis control road between Mumbai to Delhi. We are making Delhi to Amritsar-Katra Express Highway also. That land acquisition is in process. And we are going to make it this highway between Amritsar to and Delhi. It will be 4 hours. We are already going to complete this Meerut Express Highway. Presently, it takes 4.5 hours from Meerut to Delhi, but it will be 45 to 50 minutes. So we are also developing waterways. The Ganga waterways is one of the successful example, where already we have completed multimodal hub in Varanasi and Sahibganj. Then also there is in process, it will complete as early as possible, multimodal hub at Gazipur and Haldia. Then we are making small 40 river ports. And from Varanasi to Haldia, distance is 1,380 kilometers. And after Varanasi to Haldia, it comes to Bengal Sea, then coming to Brahmaputra, where already dredging is completed in the Brahmaputra. So we can go, we have also completed dredging in Bangladesh for Mungli port. And so it can go, the dredging in Barak river is also completed. So from Varanasi, we can connect up to Southeast Asia, China, Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar, and the Northeast states. And that is to be really a great achievement for Indian government. We are also connecting Allahabad, Prayagraj to Varanasi by maintaining 1 meter draft. And the project has already submitted to World Bank. We are starting from Delhi in Yamuna. It's drawn from Delhi going to Mathura, Mathura to Agra, Agra to Etawah, Etawah to Allahabad. So Agra, the Taj Mahal is there. It is one of the attraction for the international tourist. So 100% the way in which we are developing waterways, and we have 7,500 kilometers of seafront. Actually, our efficiency and capacity of the port is increased by 2 times. Our profits are good and our ports are doing excellent jobs. Now this is the time for the country that we need to upgradation of the technology, and in present economic situation, the situation is very favorable to India. India is the best destination for investment because returns are good compared with the other countries, and that is one of the reasons that lot of investors keenly interested to invest in India. Now the insurance, pension economy, there is a huge potential is available. 100% insurance, pensions and share economy. We are now encouraging people for that. Now we have also formulated the policy for making of funds of fund. And that funds of fund is of 50,000 crore by our National Stock Exchange and Bombay Stock Exchange. Now MSME is going to capital market. Before that, we are giving them equity from the government side, and they will get the equity from the abroad. I have interaction with the USA Chamber of Commerce, UK, then all different type of people in Dubai. They are keenly interested to invest in Indian MSME. Indian MSME's products are very good, cost is very reasonable, and 100% they have very, very positive impact on international economy. So 100% we are trying and welcoming the foreign investment and technology in India. As far as MSME is concerned, you take the example of Amazon. Amazon is exporting the Indian MSME product to a costing of 60,000 crore from India. So the way in which there is already demand is going to increase, and that is one of the strength for Indian economy. We have also background of handloom, handicrafts, and lot of innovation is there by which we can make good quality of products which can be easily accepted by international community. So this is the time for Indian economy to develop, and the MSME is the growth engine for that. At the same time, we are making industrial clusters. We have very good industry of leather industry. We are exporting lot of things. Our total turnover is 1,45,000 crore. Out of which 85,000 crore is our domestic market and 45 to 55,000 crore is the export market. The most important sector in India which is flourishing is related with the automobile. Present our automobile industry size is 4,85,000 crore, out of which 1,45,000 crore export is there. We are now just on the verge of completing the policy for scrapping, by which all raw material will be available with a reasonable cost. And actually our automobile industry now, all world best brands from Mercedes to BMW, Volvo, all are present in India. And now we have already successfully launched electric bike, electric scooters, electric auto rickshaw, electric buses. And we are also trying to making up electric highway. So naturally this is the new innovation, 100% which is going to helpful to Indian economy. It is a great opportunity for the investor and for the new technology. As far as the Australia is concerned, in the road safety also we have already have understanding with the Australian government and the companies. We have a long partnership with Australia from many days, and already on road safety, and this lays the foundation for our joint work to deliver on the UN Sustainable Development Goals and the associated 2030 global targets for new roads to achieve technical standards that take into account road safety or meet a 3-star rating or better in India, Australia and worldwide. Recently, as a part of World Bank funded project of MOTH implemented by the Asian Institute of Transport Development, AITD, a state-of-the-art curricula and training material for road safety engineering and road safety audit course was developed in association with an expert from Australia. More than 3,300 road safety engineers, planners and designers have been trained under road safety engineering train organized by AITD. A framework for accreditation of road safety auditors had also been worked out with the active participation of an expert from Australia. The Austria Road Assessment Program, AUSRAP, and Indian Road Safety Assessment Program, India RAP, twinning has been volunteers from VIC Roads, Australia, help work with IRPP to build the locally and India RAP program that is hosted in Delhi by AITD. The Indian RAP was officially launched in November 2017 in the World Road meeting held in Noida. Under the Indian Road Safety Assessment Program, 21,000 kilometers of road have been assessed and 3,000 kilometers of roads are being upgraded with the required safety treatments in place. It is estimated that this roads upgrade work can result about a 50% reduction in road fatalities. Indian entities engaged in a road safety research and assessment have been collaborating with Australian entities to support road safety assessment in India. International Road Assessment Program, IRAP, in Australia is now working with Australian government with a view to building partnership with Indian entities to address all three aspects of road safety via infrastructure, vehicle and road users. This is one of the important subjects. Presently, Indian situation, we are facing very crucial problem related with the road accidents. Actually, in India, every year, we have 5 lakhs accidents and 1,50,000 deaths. Globally, road accident deaths are over 1.35 million per year, out of which only 11% deaths are shared by Indian road network. Indian national and state highway network accounts for 62% of road accident and deaths. As per 2018 road accident data, 1.5 lakh people were killed in 4.6 lakh accident, and socio-economic cost of road accident contribute to 0.8% of national GDP. It is estimated as rupees 1.47 lakh crore per accident. Number of road accidents are 36 and deaths are 11.74% per 1 lakh population. Most vulnerable road users are two-wheelers, riders and pedestrians, who contribute almost 78% of road accident deaths. Occurrence of road accidents, accident injuries and death shows a rising trend, which is a matter of concern and top priority for the government. So this is really one of the very, very important sector. And regarding road safety initiatives in India, we are taking already help of Australian government and Australian companies, though are already working in this field. Objective is to set out to achieve 30% reduction in road accident death by 2024 and zero road fatalities by 2030. The restructuring and strengthening of each aspect of 4 E's of road safety: engineering, education, enforcement and emergency services. These are the 4 important pillars for that, where we are working and we are taking help from Australian government and institutions. The Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019 is already passed. It is one of the act where we take the cooperation of World Bank, and considering the act of at least 7 to 8 countries, successful implementation of that, on the basis of that we have taken this initiative. And also the state support scheme for strengthening road safety, where grant of rupees 14,000 crore would be distributed among all states to empower them in running and improving road safety programs and implementing road safety intervention at their states effectively. Establishment of National Road Safety Board is already in the process and we are working on that. We are identifying accidental black spots. That is very important, where more than 100 deaths are there on this black spot. We are taking preventive measure to prevent that. We have also MOU with the Australian University. The Ministry has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with University of New South Wales, UNSW, Australia, for setting up a Centre of Excellence for Transport System Modelling at Indian Academy of Highway Engineering, IIH in India. A platform will initiate sharing of knowledge and technology for planning, designing and capacity building of Indian highway network and infrastructure. A draft has been already approved and work will start soon. So this is the history. We are very sensitive and serious about road safety. This is one of the important agenda for the government. We are also taking lot of preventive measures, creating ambulance services on the road, cashless treatment, automated divide stage track, and lot of driving simulators, emission norms. We are taking lot of measures. Now 100% I am sure that we are the cooperation of Australian government, university and companies, 100% it can be a great start as far as the history of Indian road accident is concerned. Today it is really a pleasure and pride for me. In many fields we can increase this interaction. Our government, our Prime Minister Modi ji and Indian government is very keenly interested to interact with Australian investors, Australian companies and new technology in Australia. At the same time, from Indian side, we are now improving lot of sectors where we can even export to Australia with a very, very reasonable cost. So this is the time that our collaboration is win-win for both the country. Today I am very happy the way in which this webinar is organized. 100% it will going to be a very
Thank you, Minister Gadkari, for your talk and also for reinforcing the fact that there are opportunities that are abounding here in India in this sector.
Actually, Macquarie company has taken lot of road from our NHI and their investment, the large scale in India. So there is really a good start and I am confident that 100% this is going to repeat again and again, and we will create good relationship and good business between the two countries.
Thank you again, Minister. I'm always happy to be interrupted by Macquarie Bank. I'm now delighted to introduce a former colleague, a friend and sometimes fellow Tumbarumba trekker, Australia's Deputy Prime Minister, the Leader of the Nationals, a Minister for Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Development, the Honourable Michael McCormack, to talk to us. Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister.
Well, thank you so much, Barry. And first of all, may I acknowledge Shri Nitin Gadkari, a wonderful, wonderful speech, Honourable Minister. And I particularly liked your reference to road safety. I particularly liked your vision for the future in as much as you spoke about electric highways and the necessity to build more infrastructure. You might have noticed right at the end of your speech, I had to get up out of my chair and have a look to my left. There is a lot of construction going on in Darwin, in the Northern Territory, where I am at the moment, and it felt as though the building I'm in was almost, we've got a big demolition happening right next door, next to the Parliament House, and I thought the actual demolition was coming in on me. But I'd also like to acknowledge, of course, Frank Kwok, the Senior Managing Director and Head of India Pacific. Barry has been a great friend of mine, as he mentioned, and Barry's indeed provided some of the inspiration why I too engaged in politics back in 2010, and I've been in the federal parliament for 10 years, honoured to serve in Scott Morrison's ministry and as his deputy prime minister, and I know his great friendship with Narendra Modi, and the relationship between the two leaders of our two countries has never been stronger. Appreciate the role that Barry has been playing. Australia has had a High Commissioner role, very much engaged in trade and other activities since 1943, according to my research, and that, of course, is well before, 4 years before independence, and that's significant. The fact that Australia and India had those close ties, and not just of course on a cricketing front. Indeed, the last time India played at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, which is one of the great stadiums of the world, we were outnumbered very much in the crowd stakes by Indians, and I suspect many of those were Indians who lived in Australia, and or very much perhaps were third or fourth generation Indians who still support the old country, and it's great. Yeah, absolutely, and of course I think they won too. But we were very much out-cheered and outgunned on the field. Look, I would be remiss of me not to pass on my condolences and those of the Prime Minister. Very saddened to hear of the accident involving Air India Express. Appreciating that it was repatriating countrymen and women, families from Dubai, and very, very sorry. I know that about 18 people lost their lives in that particular tragedy, and we've got a couple of dozen people still on the critical list. And our thoughts and our prayers and our hopes are very much with those people, and our condolences are with the families who've lost loved ones. This is a tragedy, and with so much heartache engaged in the world, right around the world at the moment, it is our commitment to get through this, and we'll get through it because of our strong partnerships, our love of family, our love of all that we hold near and dear, and when it comes to all those things, the relations between Australia and India are strong, never been stronger, and I really think you've got to find High Commissioner there in Mr. O'Farrell. He'll do an outstanding job. But of course, he mentioned in his opening remarks the comprehensive strategic partnership between our two nations. And I appreciate the Indo-Australian Chamber of Commerce and what it does. Thank you for facilitating and organising today's event. Our friendship, as I say, as nations is long and enduring, and it will go on. It will go on. We've got ambitious plans, both of our nations, to build infrastructure assets. And I have to say, one way we will get through COVID-19 is through building infrastructure. Australia at the moment has as many cranes over it and over our capital cities, and indeed many of our regional hubs too, as even the United States. And we're building ambitiously roads and rail. We've got a $10 billion inland rail to get product to port within a day, within 24 hours. We've been talking about it since 1890. Barry would know how important this is through his own home state of New South Wales. But we're getting on and we're building it with the help of the New South Wales government, and Brisbane and Melbourne, their collective governments in Queensland and Victoria, of course, respectively. And we're getting on and we're doing it. But of course, that's just part of our $100 billion 10-year infrastructure plan. And Mr. O'Farrell's state that he led so well, out of debt and deficit that he inherited when he became the Premier, is also on a very, very productive and ambitious infrastructure plan. $94 billion over the next 4 years. That's remarkable, and it's only because of the prudent and wise economic responsibility that he showed when he first took over as Premier, that this is responsible, and I'm sure he's going to do the same job to build even further those trade relations between our two nations. We're also building, you may well know, a new international airport in Western Sydney, where it's not Sydney's second airport, it's Western Sydney's first airport, and it's named after Nancy Bird Walton, who you might recall, some of you, as one of our great aviators. She was a pioneer. We talk about women breaking through the glass ceiling. Well, she flew straight through it. An amazing woman, and very, very much appreciated by many in aviation. The fact that this airport, which is designed to handle up to 10 million annual passengers from the day it opens in 2026, and including in that will be many, many Indians, are going to be named after her. And so this is exciting. We need to get on and we need to do these things, and because they create jobs. And if there's one thing, I've just got off out of a cabinet meeting, a 3-hour cabinet meeting with our Prime Minister, who, like your leader Modi, knows that one way we will do it is through growing agriculture, another way is growing resources, and another way is, of course, growing our nation through productive infrastructure. And of course, with infrastructure, of course, comes road safety. Every piece of road that we build has road safety built into it, and I appreciate the remarks made by your Honourable Minister about how important this is. Now, we've used tools such as the Australian National Risk Assessment Model and the Australian Road Assessment Program, known as AUSRAP, not something that we're singing via American disco studios, but AUSRAP is all about road safety. These tools are increasingly used for prioritising road safety investments, as we've seen with AUSRAP's Indian partner, which is, of course, IndiaRAP. And this complements the Australian government's Black Spot program, where we look at particular intersections and roads where there have been a number of tragedies, and we target those for investment. The Black Spot program has led to great investment, which has saved people's lives. I was interested to hear of the Minister talking about the road toll statistics, and of course we too have 1,200 people last year who lost their lives on our roads, and many of those are in regional areas, and that is so sad. They're overrepresented in the road statistics. We've got a massive, just like India, massive road network. We can fund better roads, we can save lives, we reduce the risk of crashes. Technology and standards are so vital, everything from cars to indeed better roads, better highways and byways, and the products and materials that go into them. And I know there's a lot of Australian companies utilising the technology, the help, the assistance, and indeed some of the materials from India to do just that. And so there's some exciting times ahead there, Barry, and I know that we look forward to progressing some of those things in the future. Since 2013, Austrade has facilitated over 8 road safety missions to Australia by Indian Union and state governments, and we welcome those stakeholders, those key diplomats, and those collaborations between Australian companies, the Indian government and private sector counterparts. It's not just, as Barry would know, the role of government to invest in better roads and better technologies. It's also very much the pride and the heart and of private sector investment, and I welcome the many ways in which our two nations are collaborating on infrastructure. Australia welcomes both foreign direct investment and foreign-owned companies contracting to deliver infrastructure projects. When our government took over in 2013, Tony Abbott was the Prime Minister. He said, "Australia's open for business." I know it's a line Barry used many times when he was the Premier of New South Wales. That was followed, of course, by Malcolm Turnbull. That was followed, of course, by Scott Morrison. I just will finish on one little point. I remember when your leader came to our parliament and gave such a wonderful, wonderful address. I will never forget, he received 18 standing ovations. Now, generally in our parliament, the gallery needs to remain quiet while somebody is speaking. The only people who are allowed to speak are the politicians themselves, but the speaker gave the audience a bit of latitude and allowed them to clap because it was an outstanding speech. I tweeted the fact that it was such an outstanding speech. It received 18 rounds of applause. That tweet generated more activity on my Twitter page than any other tweet before or after. And I picked up many Indian friends from that. We are great friends of India. I want that known. I know you know that. Anything that we can do to foster and better relations, our Australian government will do. I know your leader and my leader share many values, many principles, and we will continue. Through Barry and his great work there, I know he hit the ground running as soon as he got the job. I could think of no finer person to be filling that High Commissioner's role than him. Thank you, Minister, for your kind words. Again, I offer my commiserations and condolences for that tragic air accident. And thank you for the opportunity today to join with you. And please, everyone, in these very difficult and trying times, do all you can to stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister, Minister McCormack. Thank you, Minister Nitin Gadkari, and thank you, High Commissioner. I'd now like to invite Ravin Mirchandani, the chairperson for our Western India chapter of the Indo-Australian Chamber of Commerce, to moderate our panel discussion. A few words about Ravin, who has a fabulous vision for the Western India chapter and the Chamber as a whole, and it's a pleasure working with him. Ravin is the chairperson for the chapter. He is also chairman of Adore in India and AccuSensus in Australia, the company that is presently rolling out the world's first distracted driving mobile phone detection cameras in Sydney, New South Wales. So Ravin is an Australian national and an Australian alumnus as well. He has an MBA in Business Administration from Queensland University of Technology, Brisbane. In international business, his experience spans the hydrogen mobility, defense, energy, and traffic infrastructure industries. He manages businesses that span operations in India and Australia and has a private pilot's license. So Ravin is one of those dynamic chapter chairs. Over to you, Ravin.
Thank you very much, Petula, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, to those in India. Good evening to those joining us from Australia. Thank you very much for making the time. Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister McCormack and Minister Gadkari, for the excellent speeches that you gave, and High Commissioner Barry for joining us today. Before we start the panel discussion, I want to welcome our panelist, the third panelist on this panel with the two ministers, and that is, of course, Mr. Frank Kwok, who is the Senior Managing Director and Head of the India-Asia-Pacific Zone for Macquarie Infrastructure and Real Assets. Frank is the head of MIRA, based in Sydney, and in this role, he's responsible for overseeing MIRA's investments in the region, primarily in infrastructure. Frank has been pivotal to MIRA's growth in the region, in particular India, and it was essential in the establishment of the Macquarie Infrastructure Asia Fund, which is operating in India. Macquarie, of course, doing very, very good work in the highways sector in India, and we should look forward to hearing what Frank in particular has as his vision for road safety and infrastructure in India. So thank you very much, Frank, for joining us. If I could pose the first question to Deputy Prime Minister McCormack. Following the recent path-breaking and very successful summit between Prime Ministers Morrison and Modi, what are some of the initiatives that you would like to see put in place between Australia and India in the next 12 months to help strengthen the economic and strategic partnership between the two countries?
Well, there's a number of areas that we can and will and need to strengthen our economic and strategic ties. Economic initiatives would include a memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the field of mining and processing of critical and strategic minerals, particularly rare earths. We've got any number of rare earths. They're used in any number of advanced technological things, including mobile phones, etc. We obviously need to identify areas of cooperation to meet the raw material needs and demands of our future economies, and particularly, as I say, the increased global demand for critical minerals. Now, the renewal of the Memorandum of Understanding on Cooperation in Water Resource Management is going to be crucial as well. That's going to focus on river basin planning, groundwater management, such things as irrigation efficiency. I come from an irrigation area. You add water, you grow agriculture. It's the same as in the Riverina area I represent in southwest New South Wales, an area Barry O'Farrell knows well. Right through to areas in and around the agricultural food bowls of India. The Australia-India Strategic Research Fund was extended on the 4th of June on that historic day at the virtual summit between our Prime Ministers. And there was also there was a $15 million outlay for 4 years out to 23-24 to help facilitate deeper economic engagement. And just quickly and finally, both sides jointly decided to renew the 2014, goes back a little bit, but the Memorandum of Understanding in the field of tourism to identify opportunities to strengthen, deepen and broaden cooperation in the travel, tourism and aviation sector. Now, I'm almost a little bit reticent to say that, given the fact that there's so little aviation happening at the moment. But look, we'll get through COVID-19, rest assured, and there will be great opportunities. As I say, Australia is open for business. We need to see progress made in all of those areas over the next 12 months, and I really look forward to doing what I can in this really exciting area in our bilateral economic relationship. Thanks for the question.
Thank you, Deputy Prime Minister. One more question coming at you in relation more to infrastructure and road safety. Through the company that I work with, IT Census, an Australian company, we well know your commitment to road safety from our engagement with you. The Minister himself, Minister Gadkari, has read out a number of statistics on road safety in India. I'm interested in your own views on how Australia might be able to support India, not only with infrastructure investment, but through other initiatives to be able to, in some ways, recreate the exceptional results that we have in Australia on road safety and reducing road fatalities.
Yeah, well, look, just as far as economic relations are concerned, our two-way investment is more than $30 billion. That's a significant amount of money. We can provide expert advice through our new Office of Road Safety. We've set that up. We've put a significant amount of money towards it. It's the first time we've done that. We've also got an Office of Future Transport Technologies. As I said, I was delighted to hear Minister Gadkari talk about electric highways and talk about what we can and need to do in the area, not just of getting the technology right, but indeed reducing emissions. Because obviously, if we've got electric highways, we've got more electric cars on the road, and that, of course, lowers emissions. And so, exciting stuff. So those two new offices that we've established in my time as the Infrastructure and Transport Minister, I think we've got exciting opportunities. We share that information. We've obviously got a shared vision in this regard, and if we can get together, even in a virtual sense, like we're doing today, and share the accomplishments, and also perhaps even some of the mistakes, so we avoid making them in the future. I think there's real opportunities there. Something that we've also done is we've set up a road research board to build better roads, and what they're doing down in Melbourne in a very technical and technological establishment is using a lot of old plastics and recycled glass in road base. Now, one thing that India and Australia share is a pretty tough climate. It's get a lot of rain in many areas, and it's very dry in those similar areas in the different season. And if there's one thing that we can do is build better road bases which last longer, which are then going to also help road safety initiatives. So let's get together. I'll share emails now with your good minister. Let's start that dialogue happening, and let's do a few more of these Zoom conference calls in relation to road safety. I think we can make some real progress.
Thank you very much for that, Deputy Prime Minister. Honourable Minister Gadkari, if I can come to you with the next question. You have talked about the statistics in India with 150,000 fatalities almost every year on average, and the fact there is 500,000 road crashes in India. What makes it particularly difficult is the fact that it's the young and productive part of India, the youth, that is often involved in these road crash fatalities, which takes a big impact on the economy. If you juxtapose to Australia, over 4 decades, Australia has reduced its road crash fatalities by over 80%, whilst the population has doubled, and is in many ways a benchmark globally on achieving Vision Zero. I'm interested, first up, in your ideas on how we might be able to leverage some very specific Australian initiatives on highways and state highways in India.
Actually, we have taken a lot of initiative regarding this road accidents problem. One of the project implemented by Tamil Nadu government with the cooperation of World Bank, and they reduce accident and death percentage by 25%. But actually, now we are taking different initiative. First of all, the black spot. In the road engineering, there was a problem. So our basically improvement in road engineering, that is improvement in black spots. So already we have submitted projects to World Bank and ADB, and both projects sanctioned 7,000 crore from World Bank and 7,000 crore from ADB also. So first of all, on the state highway, on the national highway, city area, with the cooperation of the state government, we are now improving these black spots. That is very important way by which we can reduce the accidents. On the education point of view, we have taken a lot of initiative for training of creating awareness in the mind of the people, and particularly we are concentrating on the small boys, students from the schools, that how it can be possible for to give them exact education by which they can understand the rules of the road and the knowledge related with the road safety. That is very important. The awareness is very important. So that is with the education we are doing. Then emergency services also we have taken some spaces, and at the same as a medical help, this is very important. And that for that point of view also we are developing a lot of things, medical insurance, hospitals, ambulances also. But actually the Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019 is one of the big revolution in India, because I have to convince the people, the state government, because the subject is in the concurrent list, where the state government has authorized to make the law, and even parliament can make the law. So we don't have majority in some of the state government, belongs to opposition party, and the upper house of the parliament also there we don't have majority. So for a year, I try my level best to convince all the political parties and stakeholders. And this Motor Vehicle Amendment Act 2019, recently passed by Parliament, focuses on road safety and includes inter alia revision in penalties and traffic violations, electronic monitoring of the same, enhanced penalties for juvenile driving, computerization, automation of vehicle fitness and driving, test, recall, and defective vehicles, streamlining the third-party insurance and payment of increased compensation for hit and run cases, etc. And the amendment has strengthened the law to improve the road safety scenario and reduce loss of life. That is very important. The other input number 2 is Australian businesses may definitely have specialized expertise and regulatory models in niche areas of design and construction, maintenance, efficiency services, the multimodal freight logistics, road safety and design and engineering, intelligent transport system, road safety training, emergency response teams, and medical care. The proposal for Australian India Infrastructure Council may intended to interaction with Australia Setu dialogue, provide a platform for an exchange of expertise in infrastructure, financing, and guidance on how companies identify opportunities, mitigate risk, and develop appropriate entry and exit strategies to invest in India. So actually, the experience in Australian government, the institutions, the university, and government organization, and already the 80% proven data is already a good track record, and that experience can be a motivation, inspiration, and giving a vision to Indian side. It can be very much useful, and we are trying to increase the interaction by which I am confident that we will take the help of all concerning stakeholders in Australia, and 100% we are very serious and sensitive about it, and we want to achieve that goal before the target year. We want to make it as early as possible because we don't want to wait for loss of the life of the people, and that is one of the very sensitive subject. I am also faced a big accident my family, and so I am very much sensitive about it, and we are very serious to implement all the things as early as possible. And just like Australia, we need to achieve that goal, that how we can save the life of the people and how we can reduce the number of accidents in India.
Thank you very much for that, Minister Gadkari. And on behalf of Australian industry, I'd like to reiterate that we are here to support you in achieving your own Vision Zero. I know that Macquarie is doing a lot on road safety in India, and my own company, AccuSensus, is channeling electronic speed enforcement in India, in Tamil Nadu, the very state you spoke about, to reduce the road crash fatalities. If we can stay with the theme and then go to Macquarie infrastructure to Frank. Frank, Mira has invested in a number of countries, but you've been a pioneer in India. You've been far ahead in the investments when Minister Gadkari's department rolled out the privatization of Indian roads. Through your companies here, such as Safeway and Swarna, you're rolling out many new initiatives that are never seen in India before. I'm personally very impressed every time I interact with your team on the significant detail to safety and commuter safety that they place. Perhaps you could outline your own vision on what Macquarie can do to help India in the space of road safety, and also your own investments appetite in the future to support Minister Gadkari's vision of changing commuting on Indian roads.
Thanks, Marty, for that question.
Actually, we have different models now. What my suggestion is, it can be a great opportunity for investor in Australia. As far as road safety is concerned, we will take all the help from Macquarie and other company also, and we will use their experience and their expertise. But regarding the road infrastructure now, we have a lot of projects. One of the projects now we have BOT, PPP, EPC hybrid annuity. Then we are making road on EPC mode. Some of the roads which already available, where work is completed, toll is already started. Now we can mortgage toll rights for 30 years, and we can monetize that road, and that amount can be used for construction for other projects. Again, we will complete that. So there is no risk. The toll is going on. We are not going to give government guarantee, but we will give guarantee from NHI. And NHI is a AAA rating company. And even we can make escrow account with the investor, with the concerning bank. Every day we will deposit all the toll in that account. If you want your return daily, weekly, monthly, 3 monthly, 6 monthly, or yearly, it is up to the investor, and we will return them back. And up to 30 years, we will give them the returns. So on this can be a good attractive model. We are now framing policy for that. My suggestion is, if the insurance fund, pension funds, or anywhere the investor, those who are interested, trust, financial trust, they don't want to invest for 30 years, it can be a good model, and 100% secured guarantee is there. And if suppose anything happens, if the toll is not getting, the NHI will take the guarantee. Presently, our income in toll is 28,000 crore per year. And my target is within 5 years, we want to make it 1 lakh crore. So there is no problem. It's 100%. I think this can be a good model. Actually, the model in which you have taken that road, that you need to collect the toll, maintain the road. But here is no problem. The road will be maintained by NHI. It is our responsibility. Only the toll will collected by NHI. There is no problem. We will deposit that money into escrow account, whatever the bank decided by the investor. and first bank will take your money, give it to you, then after that, that money will release to NHI. So this is a 101% secured model. If any of the long-term investment funds are interested to invest in India, as far as our relationship with Australia, we will encourage that funds and that investment. Already we have discussion with some insurance fund, pension funds from Europe, from USA, from Canadian pension funds. Our discussion is going on. If the Australian investors, the companies, insurance fund, pension funds, or from the government side, they are interested, we can make a agreement to NHI and we can do it. There is no problem. But only one thing is a problem, that we can accept the loan, that money in rupees, and we will return you in rupees. You have to hedge the thing, because hedging, it is viable, it is profitable to me as a department, but I need to take many permissions from finance minister and finance ministry and other ministry. So I don't want to go that route. So you take the hedging cost included in it, and after that quote me in rupees for 30 years. There will be agreement between you. We will return that money back. But that is one of the bottleneck is there, because to get it in making hedging and other things, here I need lot of approvals from Reserve Bank and from Finance Ministry. They will get it legally. It is allowed. Already 100% investment in infrastructure is automatic route is allowed. But getting this approval from hedging and other things, it is a big task. So my request is to, if they can invest in India, they can charge me for hedging cost, and then after that they can quote the interest cost. It's a great opportunity, and I have a potential. I can take 5 lakh crore, 6 lakh crore, that much amount I can take it. I have got the economically viable project where internal rate of return is good. And regarding road safety, we will take the help and cooperation and guidance from all your stakeholders, from government, from university, or from the private companies.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister Gadkari. And I'm sure that Macquarie, which is Australia's largest fund in many ways, would be quite excited by what you've just said. I leave it to Frank, Senior Managing Director of Macquarie, for Mira overseeing India. If you want to respond to that and also the previous question, Frank.
Great. Thanks, Rajan, and thank you for the Chamber for the kind invitation. I must admit, I feel it's slightly underqualified with the Honourable Ministers being part of this panel. Taking a step back, you made the point, Minister, that we acquired the first government privatisation of toll roads in India, being the TOT1. And when we acquired it, we made a deliberate decision to call that company Safeway Concessions, because what we believe that we can bring is our global international operating standards to India. We at Macquarie have been owning toll roads, as Mr. O'Farrell, our High Commissioner, knows very well, in the state of New South Wales. The first toll road we ever acquired was here in Sydney, my hometown, the M2 Hills Motorway. That was over 25 years ago. Since that time, we've invested in toll roads all around the world, in not only Australia, India, China, Korea, US, UK, Canada, everywhere around the world. And we believe that we can actually operate these toll roads very well. But importantly, for countries like India and other emerging countries, we can bring them up to our global standard of operation. And we've been working very hard with our management team and together with the Indian government and the National Highways Authority of India to implement policies in order for us to operate these at these high standards. Really simple examples include, in India, traditionally in toll roads and highway roads, you have trees in the median street. And that's probably because it looks nice. But the reality is, if you put trees in the middle of a toll road, it means that people actually have to maintain that. And you're putting, effectively, humans at risk, because at the end of the day, you can't control all of the drivers, and it really puts the workmen in at risk. So we've been working very hard with the National Highways Authority of India to make sure that there are ways in which we can replace, for example, these trees with metal barriers, which are much more safe for our workers. Another example that we have that we're looking to implement, and we have been doing in Safeway Concession, is that we've implemented thousands of cameras across our toll roads, such that in our control centre room, similar to our control centre rooms in our toll roads in the UK, France or Australia, you can see the whole toll road from our screens. And these things allow us to operate these roads much more efficiently. Another good aspect that we've done across India, which I'm particularly proud of, is that toll roads are part of the community. It's not just an investment. And in that respect, you need to really engage the community. And one thing we worked out when we acquired the Safeway Concessions Road was that every single toll collector that we had was male. There were no female toll collectors. So we actually did some investigation at one of our roads to ask the local community why there were no female toll collectors. And we found out, talking to the local villagers, that it was because, first of all, they did not feel it was a safe job. Second of all, there was no good sanitary conditions for females because it was all designed for males. So what we did was we did a pilot program where we said for the daytime shift between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m, we would trial having female toll collectors. At the same time, we would have the sanitary conditions which would be suitable for females. And then we actually had community engagement to see where the resistance was. And interestingly, a lot of the resistance were not by the females, but it was by their husbands and their parents. So actually telling them why this would be good for the economy. And by actually empowering females to be toll collectors, what we found that actually, if you give, and this is, probably gender specific, but if you provide a female with a job, they're the ones who actually are providing for the family in terms of buying food, as an example. And we're seeing that it's a good economic benefit for the local community. So following that trial, we have now implemented it across 3 of our toll roads to have this same female empowerment with those toll collectors. So safety is not just about the safety in the road, it's about the safety for the whole community. And I think whether it's the use of technology such as cameras, whether it's the use of very simple things like replacing trees with metal barriers, or whether it's engaging with the local community, we see that what we have been able to do in our roads across the world, we can implement very much so in India. And I must thank the Indian government and also the National Highways Authority of India for allowing us to have these discussions on how to actually improve road safety. Because in many respects, the requirement to have the trees on the roads was a requirement. But actually now having the discussions on why we should change it has been really encouraging. And so for us, India, of course, is a huge opportunity for us. We've invested over $2.5 billion in infrastructure, and 2/3 of that has been in roads. And we see it as a great economy because, as the Honourable Minister noted, GDP should be growing faster than anywhere else in the world. And GDP, growing middle class, and growing domestic, good demographics, increase traffic. So for our investors, it's a good investment. Hopefully, the proceeds to the government is good because you can use that for other purposes. And it's really a win-win situation. So I must admit, I've been really encouraged by the discussion that the Honourable Ministers have been discussing today, because it really further encourages us and our investors to invest in India in the future.
Thank you very much for that, Frank. And it is really encouraging to see the work that Macquarie is doing in India. Again, on behalf of Australian industry that follows you wherever you go, we are part of this initiative. We're working together on a CSR initiative along with Austrade to make a model safety road corridor in Andhra Pradesh in one of your concessions. And we're really looking forward to seeing the rollout of that, thanks to Austrade. The next question that's come on the chat, I think I should pose to Tripti Singhal, who's the founder of Womennovator. And staying with the theme, Tripti, of female empowerment, which Frank spoke about so well just now, how can the India-Australia links be advantages to MSMEs and women?
Thank you so much, Ravan, for taking up that with me. I think, first of all, I would like to really thank Frank for bringing in such an important aspect of women empowerment and equality. And secondly, for the question, I would just like to highlight that our Indian government has recently included mandatory procurement from women-owned businesses. Now, our public procurement policies, we've been after working on this for so many years, but now I'm really thankful to our Honourable Minister Nitin Gadkari, sir, that he's included 3% to be mandatorily procured from women-owned business. And I would say that not only from a woman, but MSME perspective, today they are very important aspect for any project. And so with MSME ministry being headed by our minister, I'm sure the new initiatives being taken to make them equally competent, and the initiatives like GEM which our ministry has brought in, which is bringing a complete technological platform for make them easily be competitive, to be able to be good supplier to different government agency, whether it's a national NHI project or any government project. I think we are gaining more and more importance. And with this, I think women and MSME will never be left behind, because technology today, COVID, I think we are taking it very positively, because women wanted a virtual ecosystem always, because we have a lot in our hands. And with COVID coming in, we have found everything which is complementing us in safety. We spoke about safety. So we are at home safe, still talking with all our audience and our esteemed panelists. And on the other hand, we are able to save a lot of time, which we could invest in our working women can invest in their families by not traveling and interacting, making the best use of the time. So I think I would just focus and say technology and importance equally is important for our women and MSME segment, and our ministry, Indian government with Australia. I think we can do a wonderful work. All our project on transportation have gained acceleration, and I'm sure with help of Australian government and the technologically advanced atmosphere you bring to our government, I think you will do marvelous. That's what I can say. Thank you so much, Robin.
Thank you very much, Tripti, and I'm sure that it gives energy to the work that Macquarie is doing in gender empowerment and equality in India, on the highways particularly. We're running out of time, so the last question now, and I will pose that to our High Commissioner in India, Barry O'Farrell. Barry, you've been here barely a few months, and it's been almost a baptism by fire. You walked in right to the crisis the whole world is facing. Deputy Prime Minister has talked about the good work you did in Australia and also the good work you've done here. And in fact, in the Australia-India relationship, the fact that you are posted here as such a high-profile leader from Australia in many ways signifies the upping of the importance of India in the relationship to Australia. I think it would be interesting to talk about your experience in the last few months. How has it been arriving in India? And also from your experience in Australia and New South Wales particularly, what are the things you think that Australia can do to help India, in particular in road safety?
Well, I'd say three things in response, Ravan. Firstly, that I've been surprised since I've been here, and most of that time has been after COVID has taken hold, at the ongoing commercial activity that is able to be conducted virtually. So we are still connecting people in Australia with people in India to trade across all sectors, from agriculture to infrastructure through to resources. And so that work is continuing. For the benefit of Minister Gadkari, I know that I've also facilitated Australian investors who are looking for opportunities to invest in some of the privatised assets that the Indian government has on the sale block at the present time. So despite COVID, despite the disruption, despite the fact that people can't travel, these virtual mediums are ensuring that we continue to do what Scott Morrison and Narendra Modi want us to do, which is to further deepen and strengthen the Australia-India economic and investment relationship. I'd simply say, Ravan, my message to Australian investors, whether looking to provide technology services, whether it's in mining or in infrastructure, as we've talked about today, to India, is to pick up the phone, dial in, make themselves known. What I recognise is that if it's in broader areas, and with all due respect to Macquarie Bank, who as usual do it on their own because they're big and muscly enough to do it, the best way to get a foothold in India is to look for the best possible partner in that area, work with them on a joint venture, and be introduced to the country, because every country has different regulatory regimes. Australia has a different one to India. It can be at times a nightmare. Yes, there are advisory firms that make a lot of money out of assisting businesses to do it, but there are ways that work in India. There are ways that work in Australia that simply are best done by partnering with someone in the same sector on an initial project. And Deputy Prime Minister, we have BlueScope Steel working with a major steel company here to the benefit of both companies, and it's terrific to see. So, Ravan, I'm, as you would expect, as the salesman for Australia of this relationship, very optimistic. As the Deputy Prime Minister says, we will get through the current crisis. We will get back to business as usual. But in the meantime, as Minister Gadkari has said, there are opportunities abounding here in India. And it only takes... Look, I have to be honest, Australia needs to be hungrier, because I observe, Minister, that there are many other investors from Canada, from Britain and parts of Europe that frustrate me because they seem a bit more active in the Indian market.